Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime Series, where we chat about everything leadership coaching and marketing in the aim of adding value to people's lives, happening every Wednesday and Thursday on ebizradio.com. You can catch the Lunchtime Series on all major podcast channels. To help us grow this channel, guys, please like, follow, and share with everyone, because in today's marketing segment, or marketing and leadership segment, joining me as per usual, Craig Paisley, our marketing and communications expert. How you doing, Craig?
Kevin, I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, just can't believe it feels like yesterday we spoke to each other.
We literally, right?
Well, yes. In fact, yeah, true. If it wasn't for load shedding, we wouldn't be recording now. It would have happened, yes.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, Craig, thanks for the interesting discussion last week. I mean, a topic that I was not familiar with at all. With that said, don't you want to just give the listeners some key takeaways from last week's conversation?
Absolutely, Kevin. Yeah, the topic of digital twins really is a very important topic for many businesses operating these days, and it was a big learning curve for me when sourcing the insights and information about the topic. And as I mentioned in the conversation, just vast, expansive information out there. But the first key takeaway point from the conversation is from an article that I found and referenced on Forbes.com titled "The Best Example of Digital Twins Everyone Should Know About." And we read this: "The digital twin is an exciting concept and undoubtedly one of the hottest tech trends right now. It fuses ideas including artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, metaverse, and virtual and augmented reality to create digital models of real-world objects, systems, or processes. And then these models can be used to tweak and adjust the variables to study the effect on whatever is being twinned at a fraction of the cost of carrying out the expensive experiments in the real world." The remaining takeaway points, Kevin, are from the IBM article that we referenced, titled "What is a Digital Twin?" And as you may recall, this article provided a very clear and simple breakdown on the types of digital twins that we can expect to come across these days. And the article referenced four. The first being component twins or part twins. And component twins are the most simple application of a digital twin, a very linear comparison. For instance, a functioning component where twins are in essence the same thing, but relate to components of a slightly lesser importance. Then we had asset twins, stepping up the solver a bit. And what we learned here was that when two or more of these components work together, they form what is known as an asset. And asset twins allow you to study the interaction between two components, which in turn provides a richer performance data that can be processed and turned into actionable insights on performance improvement. Then moving up, taking the twins, we move to the system or unit twins, where the unit twins allow you to actually see how different assets come together to form an entire functioning system, with specific focus on the interaction of those assets, again, providing actionable insights for performance improvements. And then finally, at the highest level, we have process twins. And the process twins are defined at the macro level of magnification, revealing how these various systems actually work together to create an entire production facility. And key focus is to understand if the systems are all synchronized to operate at peak efficiency, and if not, how delays in the system will affect the other. And in closing on this point, Kevin, the process twins can actually help establish exact time and schedules and ultimately impact on the overall performance of effectiveness of that entire system. And those are the takeaway points from last week. Kevin, I've lost you. I can't hear you.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. As I said, it's something that I didn't know about, and I'm so glad that we are shining a light on it. But I mean, Craig, what are we going to be sharing with our listeners today?
Kevin, yeah, last week's topic, obviously, as I noted, was of really great interest to me, and it led me to look out for where the most obvious link is to our daily lives, to expand this conversation. And one of the key references is the Tesla one that we cited. And I just went like, wow, that's unreal, because every single driver in a Tesla is experiencing a digital twin model because they're managing the operation of the vehicle from a remote digital environment. So I thought, let's have a look at how auto manufacturers are using the data to drive their business models. So first, to set some context on the automotive industry, I just want to reference some stats that I came across from Statista, which looked at the global automotive brand share for 2021, and was quite surprised to see at which percentage the leading brand is leading around the world. So Toyota has a 10.5% global market share. And they're quite a way away ahead of the next, which is Volkswagen, sitting at 6.4%. And then surprisingly, Honda at 5.3%, Ford at 5%, Hyundai at 4.7%, Nissan at 4.6%, Chevrolet, which obviously we don't have in our country anymore, at 4.4%, Kia at 3.6%. And right down at the bottom of the rankings, Mercedes-Benz at 3% and BMW at 2.7%. So Toyota leading the global automotive market share by a substantial way.
Craig, that seems a bit crazy, because like every corner you turn in South Africa, you see a BMW somewhere.
And again, we're one of those freaky, unique nations where, we put cars before buying homes in many instances. But obviously, BMW is part of the motor industry development plan, where there is a great offset. Right-hand BMW is manufactured in South Africa, exported. We get imports of the higher luxury models at a slight reduction price and things. So, yeah, it is one of the brands that we're very familiar with and affair with in South Africa. And I think because the right-hand BMW is produced en masse in South Africa, it probably comes into the market at a reasonable price relative to some of the other non-manufactured brands.
Yeah.
But let's learn how big data in the automotive industry, what big data in the automotive industry means, Kevin. We learned the following from Emeritus.org, the article titled "How the Use of Data and AI is Transforming the Automotive Industry." It was written by Rachel Hastings and published on the 15th of November 2021. And two quite powerful statements here, where it says, big data has been a buzzword across numerous industries for a while, and for good reason, obviously. The term refers to data sets that contain more variety and arrive at greater velocity and greater volumes than ever before. These data sets are too large and complex for traditional data processing methods, instead requiring advanced statistical systems and complex algorithms. The big data in the automotive industry can include everything from data on consumer behavior, preferences to data on driving patterns, your locations, more coming in from cars on the road, and many applications of artificial intelligence rely on this big data and point to the need for automotive engineers to actually have a deeper understanding of data analytics. Big data analytics also allows automotive manufacturers to design future vehicles to meet the changing customer preferences and needs using data sets ranging from customer interactions and social media. Manufacturers can identify in-demand features and then actually assess what price points would be of relevance to a particular customer segment as well, Kevin.
Craig, it's just occurred to me now, talking about the data and how they use it to design future vehicles to meet changing customers' preferences and needs. To me, that would be a really good bargaining tool for me to offer up my data. Because if I know that, part of what I'm getting at the end of the day, I'm one of those people that, the smallest little convenience for me makes a massive impression on whether I would buy something or not. So I mean, last time when we spoke about the data, I was like, I don't know if I would share all my data with Tesla. But when you're considering how it influences how the design and the specs and the preferences and everything is taken into consideration, you kind of go, well, then it's a very different conversation, because I would then give up my data.
And that statement of the power of data actually transfers to the power being in the hand of the consumer, because of the data the consumer has and creates is really rich and of greater value. And there's a good trade-off opportunity when it delivers exactly to the point you've made, when data enables you to have something tailored to meet your needs and demands.
So, I mean, this is obviously a key focus area for the future. Yes.
I'm
Sorry,
losing
can you
you.
hear
I'm
me?
really sorry. Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah.
There we go. So this is obviously a key focus area for the future of automotive industry. With that in mind, what is the value derived from data-related services in the industry these days, Craig? Oh dear. Lauren, when you see this, just pick it up from this next question. This is obviously a key focus area for the future of automotive industry. That will be our next go-in point.
Idea what happened there.
The joys, Craig. We live in South Africa. It's how it happens, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just
with that question again.
Yeah, I'll start from that question. Perfect. Craig, so this is obviously a key focus area for the future of the automotive industry. With that in mind, what is the value derived from data-related services in the industry these days?
Yeah, Kevin, absolutely. And I'm quite amazed at the significant value that these data-driven services are actually going to bring the industry in the short to medium term. And this is emphasized in the article 11 Best Automotive Data Analytics Companies in the World, which was written by Marta Holver and published on next.com on 27 Jan 2020. The excerpt from the article notes as follows, Kevin, that data analytics in the automotive industry is now applied at every stage of the automotive production. And according to the McKinsey and Company report, by 2030, global revenues from auto-related data services will grow to around a staggering $750 billion US dollars.
Wow.
Yes. And with the auto giants like Tesla, BMW, Ford, Toyota, they're all built on data, and they've realized that the value gathered can actually bring a lot of proposition to the organizations in the short and long-term perspective, Kevin. But what's really interesting about the article is understanding where vehicle usage data will actually drive the greatest value for automotive businesses. And what we learn here is that by 2025, an estimated 700 million internet-connected cars will collectively upload 10 million terabytes of automotive data per month, with 4 terabytes being processed each day. So you can just see the scale of how data is being aggregated on a daily basis and why there's this need for such a deep value chain of specialist data analytics companies in the industry, Kevin.
10 million terabyte. I don't even know what that size is. I'm like, that's a lot of data.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Kevin, the reality here is the biggest challenge, though, is that automotive companies actually won't have the ability to collate and analyze the data in the shortest period of time, because their core business is manufacturing, production, automotive, and this is really where the opportunity exists for the key outsourcing proposition, with some companies outsourcing either part or the entire data analytics requirements to independent specialist data service providers. And obviously, this has some cost benefits to the automotive companies, but most importantly, the specialist data analytics companies are best in class in this particular proposition, and therefore produce a much higher value of insight, and obviously don't compromise quality. So it makes a lot of sense there. But that chart in the article was really, really informative, and it advises us of where the categories are, where maximum data driven value is derived for each of the auto manufacturers. So vehicle diagnostic and maintenance contributes 82% of the data-driven value. In-vehicle personalization contributes 80% of the value. AI-based insights to assist vehicle users, 72%. New adjustment industry products and services, obviously on the back of the digital twin proposition, 71%. New revenue streams from selling data, and this is important. Yeah, obviously third-party data has got great value still, 71%. New mobility products and services, 71%. And then the linkage to other lifestyle activities, 51%. So obviously, in that instance, it's understanding location, where the vehicles have gone, how long are they in different environments, are they on holiday, are they in business trips, or taking into account all of those lifestyle propositions and what the plugin of social media is saying and those things, Kevin.
Great, but just thinking on some of the conversations we've had around AI, I think this speaks to that whole work that would be created in the future that we don't even know about yet. That AI could really take the data, because it is so much data, and you could leave it up to AI to simulate and sort of give you options from all the data, and
100%,
without having someone slogging through it.
Exactly that. So the more inputs and the more feeding and analyzing and guiding AI, the more effective it's going to become in a shorter period of time. And it most definitely will create these beautiful digital models to ensure that there's an ability to create the personalization and build relevance into the product range to meet consumers' needs again, Kevin.
And that sort of refers back to last week's conversation, where you can design this twin model of yes. something, and have in comparison like which version of the data is better.
100%. That's exactly, yeah. They've clearly understood the intrinsic value of data in this particular industry, Kevin. But a quick note on the data analytics service providers that I mentioned a short while ago. The startusinsights.com research blog carries an article titled 5 Top Vehicle Data Startups Impacting the Automotive Industry, which interestingly revealed that there are already 250 vehicle data startups impacting the auto sector. So 250 international organizations, predominantly in the Northern Hemisphere, structured around the USA, Europe, into the East, a bit in Australia and a bit in South Africa. But, if you think at this early stage of data analytics driving the future automotive design, and there's already 250 startups playing in that space, you just imagine. And you can actually then see the correlation as to why the industry is going to be worth 750 billion plus by 2030.
Well, and again, back to that point I just made earlier, that like we had this approximately a year ago. We were discussing, AI and the jobs that we're not even aware of, and here we're talking about data companies using data and startup companies that are actually in the world already doing this, right? And that just speaks to how the evolution of work is happening. We're not even aware of what is going to come from the next 10 years. It's quite fascinating.
Yeah, Kevin, and again, it goes to, the point where everybody's going, is AI going to eliminate a huge percentage of jobs around the world? Well, in one instance, yes, but in the other instance, they're going to obviously create the new jobs. So it's about that conversation we had around ensuring that organizations are upskilling to meet the ever-changing demands of the future work opportunities derived out of AI.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, as there are different categories of data-driven value and many data startups playing in the industry, what are some of the roles that these companies operate in?
Yeah, Kevin, it's a good question, that because I came across the article titled "Who is Collecting Data from Your Car?" written by John Keegan and Alfred Ng. It was published on the markup.org on 27 July 2020, and it addresses these questions in some detail. And the article opens with the following statement. Today's cars are akin to smartphones, with apps connected to the internet that collect huge amounts of data, some of which is highly personal, but most drivers actually have no idea what data is being transmitted from their vehicles, let alone who exactly is collecting, analyzing, and sharing that data, and most importantly, with whom. A recent survey of drivers by the Automotive Industries Association of Canada found that only 28% of respondents had a clear understanding of the types of data their vehicle produced, and the same percentage said that they had a clear understanding of who actually had access to that data, Kevin. The article then provides a broad overview around some of the products that automotive manufacturers create and some of the services that they provide relative to this connected vehicle data marketplace. So let's look at the 6 points noted. The first is car manufacturers, or OEM, as many are known, are directly responsible for and control the collection of most vehicle data, and they use it for maintenance, emergency roadside assistance, and other driver convenience services. Then is the big proposition in this particular segment, Kevin, and that's vehicle data hubs. They ingest all of this vehicle and movement data from the multiple sources, whether it's from the car manufacturers, whether it's from other connected vehicle data providers, or directly from vehicles using aftermarket hardware such as onboard diagnostic dongles, or from smartphone apps that are live during the driver experience. This data is then consolidated and normalized in one place for analysis and insights. And it's worth noting here, Kevin, that the vehicle data hubs really are the center point of this connected vehicle data market, as they are much better at analyzing the data of the OEMs because they ingest the movement data from multiple sources, not just from the actual production of the vehicle. And those multiple sources, again, the OEMs, connected vehicle data, et cetera. But many of the vehicle data hubs will then market and package the data for use across the entire industry, Kevin, whether it's around informing insurance products, around traffic management, around feeding into understanding electric vehicle infrastructure planning, informing your fleet management planning, and then obviously for advertising, for mapping, city planning, and then understanding location intelligence as well, Kevin.
So, I mean, that sort of gives you an eye to the future, where you're driving in your vehicle, and depending on what search you had on Google today, you'll be driving along the highway, and something specifically will be advertised to you.
Personalization at the highest level, most definitely.
And also that also leverages the opportunity for car manufacturers to kind of go, okay, well, do you want advertising free optionality here? So that you're not driving along and getting all this bombarded with like spam. It's interesting to think where the future could go if your car and your vehicle and your data is being connected to hubs around the city, for example.
Absolutely.
It's quite fascinating, yeah.
Particularly when we get into autonomous vehicle experience, then the reality is there, the dashboard and the various digital screen environments in the vehicle are absolutely connected to the respective environment and end destination, and can start feeding you real relevant content. Let's say if you're going on a trip, a holiday, or a lovely adventure, you're starting to get fed information which is warming you up to the experience and giving you some insights as to where to go, where to stay, what to see, etc. So really fantastic opportunity. And that actually plays perfectly into the third point here, which is about navigation and in-vehicle infotainment. These companies are actually providing dashboards with driving directions, music, third-party apps, and things like that, and bringing the infotainment experience straight into the heart of the vehicle. And then obviously the one that we all know, insurance companies, which create usage-based insurance and other products that obviously start offering discounts or premium increases based on your actual driving data. And looking at the local market here, Discovery Insure, Kevin, they're monitoring your speed, your braking behavior, your fuel consumption, the frequency of trips and destinations, and they can actually start tailoring your product proposition around you. And then you've got the entire reward value proposition that plugs into that around which fuel brands are attached to the program, where your discounts are, etc., etc. Then we have the telecom operators, which can offer car manufacturers connectivity solutions, both integrated into the vehicle or in the form of that dongle that plugs into the car's OBO port, and they can actually act as Wi-Fi hotspots also while tapping into the car's telematic data. And again, the telematic data is probably the simplest understanding of data that emanate from a car, because every single vehicle on the road of new generation vehicles are equipped and loaded with telematic data, Kevin. And then lastly, telematic providers then make aftermarket tracking hardware and software that then collects the data directly from cars, and they then will cater to full commercial fleets, particularly in the fleet management space, where they can now start tracking, particularly in large trucking fleets, the likes of that braking behavior, speed, fuel efficiencies, and things like that. And the great thing there again is drivers are incentivized based on their driver behavior.
Craig, what's fascinating about this is that, we're looking at how the world is sort of evolving into the future. And, with our conversations, we're literally doing it in real time. And, with our house at the moment, we've gone to the extent of buying plugs that switch on with your Wi-Fi, so you can switch on stuff and switch off stuff and time that. And we put a timer on the geyser, so it switches off and switches on, which saves quite a lot of money every month.
Yes.
When you listen to how data can influence, just a part of your world, the next thing would be data for your home, and how that influences, or smart data for your home, and how that influences how you live life, and what's working in your houses, and what's more convenient, and to me, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a fascinating sort of perspective on how AI and information can actually work in your favor.
Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll definitely source some info, and we can do a show on the connected home, because there's really good marketing opportunity for brands in that environment as well, not just from a management of lights on, lights off, television on, television off, but through the actual ability for brands to start understanding what's in the fridge, what's not, what's on the shelf, what's not, and how you can then start getting demand management coming out of the technology enablement in your home as well.
Yeah, I mean, if your fridge could scan in information and it's there, and when it's finished, you just scan it out, and then you have a grocery list. I mean, it's
absolutely, and that's the very point. Yeah, I'll find us some good info to talk around.
I would love that kind of fridge. It'd make my life so much easier. And I mean, to add to that, it should just automate the list and then send it to Pick and Pay, and pay it and just arrive on the day. And I'm like,
well, theoretically, that does happen in some markets, Kevin, where the demand management is in place, and these are shopping days, that list is aggregated, the list is sent off, whether it's to an Amazon delivery or a Walmart or something like that. But yes, most definitely that is a reality. I'll definitely source info for us to chat around that.
Correct. So as we close today's show, what can you share with the listeners as key takeaways from our conversation on the auto manufacturers are building data-driven businesses?
Kevin, yes. So I want to reference the ebook produced by Cubic Telcom. Then the ebook is titled "Transforming Car Makers into Powerful Data-Driven Businesses: A Roadmap to Unlocking New Revenue Opportunities and Achieving Competitive Advantage in a Fast-Moving Ecosystem." And I want to specifically address the section titled "Connected Car ecosystem, which addresses 3 technologies in this connected ecosystem environment. So the section opens with the following statement. Each of these technologies demands specialist knowledge and an ability to seamlessly integrate them. Not only does it need a deep understanding of network and device functionality, it requires expertise in the data pipeline, the journey of raw data from multiple sources to data lakes and warehouses where business intelligence tools are used to surface the insights and reports and dashboards. This is not an ecosystem that vehicle manufacturers can easily build. And as I mentioned earlier, that's why we're seeing the creation, or at least the awakening of 250 independent startups to play in this space. So the 3 technologies are noted as follows. The first being sensors to actually provide the data points, Kevin. And as I mentioned, there are a number of in-car systems and sensors, and these are expected to grow, evolving from the standard mechanical function like brakes, wheel performance, to more sophisticated tasks like radar for early hazard warnings, particularly, the experience that we have when you're reversing and pulling in and out of bays and things like that, ultrasonic for object detection and cameras in car, etc. Each providing valuable data points that can be used for short and long-term insights. Given the key point here, though, is the ability to identify these sources will be a major transformation in the future of automotive. The second connected component is compute power to process data. So capturing data is only one challenge. Processing it is really the real challenge here. And the evolution of connectivity, data centers, and high performance computing will be instrumental in how this connected car data is actually used and processed for evolving the future of automotive. 5G will obviously leverage the small cells and use radio processing from the base stations, and then it'll allow micro data sensors to actually now process the raw data with high performance computing systems, then integrating that into the vehicle for raw sensor data processing, and then that being transmitted over the 3G to the cloud, Kevin. And then the last point here is then turning that data into insights with AI and machine learning. And most businesses are moving from this descriptive, predictive to predictive analytics, moving through the value chain, using algorithms to build models that draw on these multiple data sources, with the descriptive analytics looking not just backwards but also forwards. And this is, again, where the digital twin comes to the fore, is the ability to look back, use it, and shape forward, relying on that historical data where other methods and use modeling techniques come to play to determine what actually might happen in the future. And then it turns that data insight into a much more informed decision, which is based on evidence here, not just on a hunch, Kevin. And then obviously that informs the final output product. And those are the key takeaway points for today.
Fantastic, Craig. Thank you for today's conversation. It was fascinating as always. Shout out to cleancreatives.org/South Africa. You can make a difference to climate change, guys. Climate change is already bringing devastation to our planet, communities, and businesses. There's an urgent need for brands and agencies to put sustainability at the heart of their operations. And if you want to help climate change, go and check it out on cleancreatives.org/South Africa. Clean Creatives, the future of creativity is clean. Craig, thank you for today's conversation, and thanks for always informing us of stuff that we don't know about.
Yeah, I'm loving this ability to be able to just go and find great, insightful pieces of information which are out there, and just hopefully make it more, understanding in a simpler way, but really bringing some of the best in class thinkers information to share across platforms like this.
Absolutely. So thank you for joining us, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. Have a good week ahead. Yeah,
thanks. You too. Cheers, bye.